the Care Girl podcast and experience.
Hi, it's the Care Girl. I'm here with Gairy Johnson with TBI Diagnostics and All Things Neuro. How are you doing today?
Doing well. How are you?
I am doing awesome. Glad to finally get you here.
Yes.
It's been a little rescheduling, but I know you're a busy man. Tell us about the new things you got going, the new All Things Neuro, all that good stuff.
Well, All Things Neuro is a separate company in and of itself. It's a marketing brand for 3 separate entities: TBI Diagnostic Centers, Neuropsych Centers, and United Neurology. TBI Diagnostic Centers is essentially the diagnostic arm for concussion testing. What we do is oculomotor, oculovestibular testing for patients that suffer from anything from a traumatic experience. Hit your head, auto accident, slip and fall, and you're trying to figure out what's going on and just don't know what's wrong, whether or not you have headaches, ear ringing, dizziness. So what we do is we provide a platform and a service to objectively identify what's going on. The reason why we started TBI Diagnostic Centers was just a lack of objective information in the industry. According to the CDC, about 55% of mild TBIs go undiagnosed a year.
Oh, wow.
So when I was in neurology and working and being part of the treatment side, I noticed that there was a lack of reliable testing options. A lot of times when you go to a neurologist, I have a headache, may have hit my head, I don't know what's going on. Don't worry about it. Go home for a few weeks. And
Go home. Just walk it off.
You should be okay. Here's some headache medicine and that's it.
Yeah.
However, according to data in the industry we're in, the medical field, CDC, a few other sources, long-term effects of that can be detrimental. So it's our job within the community to provide a more objective option to show that, look, it's not just you having headaches. There could be some issues with your brainstem. The frontal lobe is damaged. So we can show clearly and depict specifically what's going on and what part of the brain needs to be focused on. And so that's what we do. That's what we do at TBI Diagnostic Centers. We test and we show through the eyes. 80% of concussions is eye tracking dysfunction, right? So with our type of testing, we're able to determine and see, from the eyes, that gives us a window to the brain, what's going on. So that's what TBI Diagnostic Centers is. It's a part of the 3-pronged solution to neurology, to comprehensive traumatic brain rehabilitation or care. And what we do is we test and we focus on objectively identifying what's going on.
Awesome. I love that. So tell me, did you just wake up one day, when you were young and say, I want to test brains? Or how did you get into the traumatic brain injury space? How did you discover it? What's that story?
I played football my whole life. My brother plays football. He plays for the Chargers. We're a football family.
Love it.
I kept,
I can see football.
Indirectly, I've kept, been aware of what's going on in the news. As you can see, the concussion topic is a huge topic. The movie Concussion that came out was big. And so I was in a medical space. I was working in pain management at the time, and we thankfully got into the auto injury industry in addition to health insurance, and we noticed that there was just a need for neurology. So as I mentioned earlier, we started a neurology practice, got into treatment, eval, therapy, etc. But we realized there was no need for objective testing. There was no solution for objective testing. A lot of times when you have a head injury, you go get a brain MRI. The issue with that is most of the time, 94% of the time, it comes back negative because there's no structural damage. There might be no bleeding, anything. So sometimes when it's mild to moderate, we think that there's nothing wrong. When in reality, there is something going on. You're not doing the proper type of testing. So that kind of forced me to look more in detail to see what else is out there in the industry. And I came across a great product It's FDA cleared, FDA approved to diagnose for concussions. And once I realized how I could utilize this product in the community we're in the space we're in, I started TBI Diagnostic Centers.
Love it. So you saw a big problem and you decided to go ahead and just start it and keep going.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you have any other founding members that were a part of this with you as well?
There's not so much founding members in the sense, but we have some investors.
Okay.
Behind the scenes. Yeah.
Okay. Would you say you're the mastermind behind everything? I know you've done some healthcare consulting and things of that nature.
In a sense, yeah, I have a few, very important, I call them partners in a sense, on my team. Dr. Ben Barrett is the director of he's our director of neuroscience. Obviously our neurologist, we have a few, Dr. Brown, Dr. Mbayo, board certified neurologists. Dr. Barron is kind of the brains on the medical side of things. He's unbelievable in terms of understanding oculomotor, oculovestibular function and testing, and he's been extremely helpful to our growth. In terms of bringing the product to the industry and finding a solution for patients, providers, attorneys, etc., I kind of spearheaded that process.
Love it, love it. So 8 locations, how did it go from 1 to 8? And as a leader, what are some key things that you had to change within yourself and work on in order to grow a team like that?
Well, so let me just clarify. 8 locations technically is 8 locations for neurology treatment.
For neurology treatment. Yeah. Okay, so okay, gotcha.
For testing, we have 3.
Okay.
There really is no need to have as many as neurology, because neurology, obviously, they focus more on the initial consults and they focus more on getting the patient better as quickly as possible. So our 3 locations are strategically placed, almost centered within those 8 locations.
Okay.
So when they need us to do testing or any other providers, we're located in Decatur, East Point, Lawrenceville, almost like a triangle in a sense. And in terms of gathering a team, if that's what you're asking me.
Yeah.
Really, it starts with the culture. Our culture, for me, culture is so important. I don't look at my employees as employees. I look at them as team members.
Yes.
I believe in whoever I bring on, creating more leaders, more opportunities for, my team members to do what I'm doing, whether it's in the same industry or a different industry. So that's most important. Sometimes less is more. So we have a team. We have a small team, but we have a strong team.
Oh, that's powerful right there.
So I create leaders within my team, and they take on more, they do more, but it's worth it for them. It's worth it for the business, and that's just the way I structure it.
So do you have a staple book that you give your team members, or do you have a leader that you follow to kind of inspire you at all?
Yeah, there's several leaders I follow. I mean, I can go down the list, but in terms of a book, there is a specific book. I always forget the name of this book. Do you
remember the author?
I forget her name. I'm bad with names.
I probably will think of it when you tell me what it's about.
It's a book about growth mindset versus fixed mindset.
Okay.
And actually, it's funny you mentioned that. I just as a token and a thank you, I gave this book to everybody on my team. So I'm big on education and continuing learning. Every single day there has to be something new. So she's actually in a course with me. I take courses all the time, try to stay on top of what I'm doing and perfect my craft as much as I can. But the book is based on growth mindset and fixed mindset. And I forget the name of it.
No, that's okay. How do you apply the growth mindset and what's the difference between the growth mindset and fixed mindset?
So, a lot of times with business, there's always change, right?
I know.
For example, we're expanding to different cities and different states. So a lot of times staff will say, well, man, why? It's just too much. It's just so much going on. I can really do what I have to do now in terms of my tasks and my responsibilities. A fixed mindset will sit there and say, well, you need to hire more people. A growth mindset will say, well, okay, let let me figure out solutions to where I can maximize my efficiency and find ways to help the company grow in that capacity, whether it is suggesting a new employee, but that's not the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
So it's just having a mindset of being able to understand that when things come to pass, it's how can I accomplish and get through it versus saying, man, this is too hard. This is too much. Mainly it's basically positive over negative.
Being more positive over negative.
Yeah.
So like persistence in a way as well. In a growth mindset, because I get what you're saying. Because a fixed mindset is more like you are fixated on one thing, and if it doesn't work, you're like you're not a good critical thinker.
Yeah. I mean, the only constant in life is change, right? Mm-hmm. And that's one of the keys to business success. If you can understand and be okay with the constant change and find ways to maneuver and be successful through those changes, you can do anything.
The changes don't give you anxiety, because the changes give me anxiety sometimes. I'm like...
stress is normal.
Okay.
Stress is okay. It's good to have stress.
Yeah.
But there's ways to combat that stress. That's part of your personal... For me, I like to exercise.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I like to read. I like to spend time with my sons. There's a balance, right?
Yeah.
That's normal.
Is there a balance, though? Let's talk about that. You're a CEO, you're a husband, you're a father. So what is your why? Let's start with that. What is your why? And then is there a real balance? That's the second question.
Oh man, my why. So ultimately my why is obviously as a man, as a husband, as a father, is to provide for my family, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But really deep down, my why is to set the right example for my kids. And then if you break that down even further, is to be a positive force in this community we're in.
Yeah.
To show that it's not, what I'm doing is completely new. And the way it was done in the past, it wasn't done right. And so just being able to be a positive force in the community I'm in and realize that I'm really helping patients. I'm really
you are
highlighting and showing, what's going on with their brain in a sense. Or at least getting the initial steps objectively to say this is what you need to do next to get you better. So my why is kind of twofold in a sense. Family, obviously, and then just being able to help others and bring a clear, not just solution, but quality product that is helpful and affordable.
Yeah, I love that. So, second question was, do you have balance, or do you feel like as a CEO, like for me as a business owner, I don't even believe in balance because it's just impossible for me. So I just go with the changes and I prioritize. Yeah.
So that's a tough question. You're right, because Savannah, I tell you, man, sometimes she'll get emails at 2 a.m. in the morning, and I'm just like, I'm ready to, because that's just how I am. My mind is always running nonstop. When I wake up, when I go to sleep, it's always focusing on what's the next step? How can I grow? How can I be better? Where are we headed? Where am I headed? It's just nonstop. However, in terms of balance, I try my best to spend as much time as I can with my family. What I mean by that is we go on vacation, we do the things that we do during, holidays. This past 2 weekends ago, I took them to a water park for the week. Those are things that really matter to me the most. So that when it comes to that, yes, but when it comes to business, there is no balance for me. It's nonstop. I own 6 other businesses. There's other businesses.
You got a lot. A lot
going on. So
you're a serial entrepreneur then.
Yeah. So
I let that go. I let cereal go a long time ago because I feel like I have to focus on one thing for me now. Because I was a singer-songwriter dancer. I was telling Savannah I was a triple threat, and then I was like, I'm gonna be a triple threat in business. And I'm like, okay, for me as a mom, it's harder, but men, y'all can kind of take on way a lot more than women and kind of like handle it way better.
Well, I respect what you're saying, and that's the way I used to think too, and it's good to think like that. So what I did was, it's not so much me establishing businesses at the same time. That would be
too much.
Be advantageous for what I'm doing, right? So what I've done is I've almost put all my eggs in one basket. I started one thing, I got good at it, I reached a certain level of success. And then when I'm able to get to that point, I brought on people to help manage this particular business, delegate the tasks and things that need to be done, hire the right people, the right staff, the right team, and then take almost like investing in other businesses in a sense, right?
Yeah. Okay. So it's more of an allocation, and you have like assets, and you have the teams in place and all of that.
Yeah, because I'm a firm believer on there's no plan B. Either you're all in or you're not.
Oh. Okay. So those other companies, they're not plan B at all. It's just like a round, like you're just around all around diversification. Okay, diversification.
Because if I got my one foot here, my one foot here, one foot here, I'm not going to give my all in this particular business I'm focusing on, right?
Okay.
So that's the way I look at that.
So at what point, okay, for an entrepreneur like me, if I say, okay, I have my home care business, at what point should my business be like, I'm okay to do something else?
When you get to a point where you're not in your business anymore and you're focusing on your business. When you get to a point where your business runs itself and you can take a step back and analyze and see how things are going, then you may have the time to go and do something else. But if it's a point where the initial, stages of business, first 3 years typically, and you're in it, you're focusing on the policies, the procedures, the operations of everything from A to Z, then obviously you may not have the time to. So I'm at a point, thankfully, thanks to people like Savannah and others that were, I don't have to focus as much in the business, rather on the business, and just analyze it from a big picture level.
Yeah, I definitely want to get to that point. And I want to talk about any failed ventures that you've had and what you learned from it, and how has it helped you today, if you had any failed.
I'm more thankful for my failed ventures than I am with where I'm at right now. I tell my team all the time, don't be afraid to make mistakes. I would rather you make the mistake than not make a decision at all. It's more powerful to make a decision and make the mistake than sit back and not know what to do, or don't be afraid to do what you think shouldn't be done. So I've had several failed instances, one of which was about 4 years ago, but prior to me starting TBI, I was with another group, and just didn't turn out the way I thought it would. I made a few bad decisions as a little bit younger than I am now. Looking at it from a different perspective, and I'm thankful for that experience because I learned a lot through that process and saw things I would have never been able to see without going through that experience. So one instance, it's not so much a failure in the sense that the business failed, but just me personally not being able to fulfill my expectations without getting into too much detail in that.
Did you have more expectations in that business, or did other people have more expectations of you? Like,
I did. I had expectations in my involvement, and was almost used in a sense of my expertise. And I got into the business with the wrong mindset and the wrong desire. More so trying to make money quickly as opposed to establishing and doing it the right way how I'm doing it now.
Yeah.
And so you get caught up, something, looks good to you on the paper, and then you get involved and you're like, no, this isn't lining with my integrity.
Okay. I get where you're going on that. You don't even have to expound on it, because I've been a part of situations like that, and it's almost like if you don't do what's right, what you know is right, it won't survive. It's not going to be sustainable. Yeah. That's what I've learned. Like, you have to be true to yourself. Because a lot of times, you don't want to be leading out of, in survival mode. Like, you have to have some type of like grounding on, like, this is why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And of course you still have to, of course, be profitable, make money. But if that's your main reason why you're doing something, that's not going to be sustainable, because at some point where you're going to need way more energy than you're making the money, it's almost like it's not going to catch up to you.
Yeah, and if you're trying to build an operation like what we're accomplishing and striving to do, You have to have a vision that makes sense for your team, right? And the way I see what we're doing is, and I truly believe this, is that we're really helping patients. We're really helping people. Getting
in real life.
the awareness out there. I mean, you know how many times we talk to referring sources and others like, man, I wish I'd known about you guys, and you know, we need this. This is so helpful. Or how many times a patient has told us, I didn't know what was wrong with me. I've had a few MRIs. They couldn't tell me what was going on. Now you just things like hearing stuff like that all the time is really what drives me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And that's and the money will follow. I'm not worried about that.
Right,
So.
right. I mean, you build it, it'll come.
Yeah.
You know, it's very needed. And you know, I have a neuro background, which I was talking to Savannah about, and which is so crazy because I know one of your docs, Dr. Brown. She actually trained me. Yeah. I don't know if she told you our story, but like, yeah. I was her office manager at 19 and running her whole place. Like, we were like, she got on me, like, and it's so crazy. I was like, she said, no wonder why you're an entrepreneur, because you know, you handled that. I was training students, like, all kind of stuff. I was running that place. She had a brand new baby at the time. I was like, go be with your baby. I got it.
That's a ways back, right?
Yeah, that's when I believe I forgot which baby it was, but I know she had a brand new baby.
Yeah.
We were both, from Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, and both in Georgia now. So it's amazing. Like, in neuro, it's so small. It's a small world. It's a very small world.
Like, there's not that many neurologists anyway.
Nah, not at all.
If you break it down from the specialists, it's not a lot. So yeah, the neuro space is so small.
It is. Talk about how, you nurture relationships, and do you feel like the relationships you built have helped you accomplish the thing that you've accomplished?
100%.
Because people don't talk about it enough, and they don't understand, like, it takes more than you to build something
100%.
outside of yourself.
I'm extremely thankful for my relationships. That's right. That's one of the main catalysts where I'm at today. I have to be honest about that. I mean, first of all, anything I do, it has to be a win-win. I can't be in a relationship or a business relationship with someone that's not just me, but the other party has to be feeling. They have to feel good. They have to be like, okay, we're going to win together. That's number one. Number two, I tend to give more value than what is expected, because I don't do it because I know it's a return, but I know in the universe there's almost a reserve for me and when it's needed.
Yeah.
And so when I was going through what I was talking about earlier, my failure, that reserve came into play, and that person that was able to invest and be a part of this success.
Wow.
Was like, Gary, I know who you are. We've been done things before in the past, and let's get it going. And it was just like this. So my relationships is important. I like to move with integrity. It has to be. Both parties have to feel good about what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't do business with everybody. Can't shake everybody's hand, and you have to have those morals. Speaking of morals, did those morals were they ingrained with your family life, or like your upbringing? What was that like? Where are you from?
I'm from Washington, D.C.
Okay, D.C.
My mom is from D.C., born and raised.
All right.
My dad is from Guyana, South America.
Nice. Oh yeah, so that's that tough, love.
So it really comes from him. A lot of my business qualities. From him and his side of the family.
Was he an entrepreneur?
Not so much an entrepreneur, but we have so many attorneys, and my granddad had like 3 farms in Guyana, and so just that mindset and that mentality, really that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
That's where it started, I should say, and I cultivated it obviously over the years in different environments. I was in Ohio for about 4 years, and when I was there, I went through a lot of didn't know at the time, but a lot of training, leadership training.
Okay, a lot of leadership training.
Yeah. So
from working on the farm, like, was it?
No, I was actually involved with it. Before I started the medical, I got into the medical industry. I was in online advertising, digital advertising. I had a team of 10.
Wow. So were you a leader in the company, or?
Yeah, I wasn't so much. I was a leader in a sense, but I was learning leadership qualities and skills within that process, and the way it went wasn't by design, but I just happened to almost like embrace it and just feel it. And when the time came for me to utilize those skills, in retrospect, I was like, man, I see.
You learned that, yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? I see
yeah.
why I went through this and that. So
yeah.
I'm very grateful for that.
There's a reason why you go through every stage, and sometimes like when your mom taught you something or kept saying something over and over in your childhood, then it happens in adulthood. You're like, oh, that's why my mom said that. And you know, like I have so many moments now, like to this day, my grandmother would say certain things, and I'm like, oh, now I see why she said, you know, you need to have a warm pot of food on the stove when you got kids, and you know, because it's always food ready for them because they're always hungry, especially having boys.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, this has been definitely good. I want to leave the audience with 3 things that you would think that your friends and family would say about you. 3 words to describe you.
Oh man.
That's a lot. She got it look like she got a lot to say over there.
I would say 1, I'm very strong-willed.
Strong-willed, okay. Well, strong-willed. We're gonna go with that.
Honest, and a man of integrity.
Love it.
If you ask my family,
a man of integrity. Where can everybody find you online?
I'm on LinkedIn. I'm not really a big, other than LinkedIn, I'm not really big on the other platforms. Gairy Johnson on LinkedIn.
Awesome.
That's really it.
And one more thing, what's next for you? Where are you headed? If you could share a little bit.
For TBI Diagnostic Centers, we're taking this nationally.
Love it.
We're not only going to be in the auto injury space, we're going to be in workers' comp, health insurance, cash option. I'm going to partner with some professional sports leagues in addition to amateur athletics. Those are the next steps. We are expanding, as Savannah mentioned, to a few other cities within Georgia. We'll be testing in Ohio next week. And then we're already in Florida. There's some other states we're looking into this year. So the growth curve is definitely in the mindset, and we're going to be, that's the taking this nationally and bringing awareness and having an option for injured victims that have experienced traumatic experience or a traumatic brain injury, have an option to get tested. So that's the goal, is to bring awareness to this.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you for coming on today.
All right, thank you.
All right.
I'm here with Savannah with All Things Neuro. We're going to give you a short introduction about the company and All Things Neuro. Tell us about it.
So All Things Neuro is a solution to comprehensive concussion and TBI care. So you're getting everything A to Z, from treatment, concussion testing, and then psych as well.
Okay. So what type of people do you normally service? Is this all like personal injury, accidents, sports? Give us a little roundabout of what you serve.
So right now it's personal injury in Atlanta. We have 8 offices throughout Metro Atlanta, and we're expanding right now to Macon and Augusta. So we're just doing like car accidents, slip and falls, and things like that.
Okay, what kind of diagnostic testing do you guys do? Because I have a little bit of a neuro background, so I pretty much can nerd out a little bit on that.
So we do testing through eye tracking dysfunction. So we're testing ocular, motor, and vestibular, and it can pinpoint exactly what's going on in the brain so we can get a proper diagnosis and treatment.
Okay. How long have you been with All Things Neuro? And tell us one good thing you love about it.
So I've been here a year this month, actually. So it's my anniversary. Thank you.
Yeah, that's been a while. That's wow.
I know.
Yeah,
it went by so fast. Let's see, one good thing. I think the one good thing is that the owners really care about what they're doing, and they're constantly trying to make it better and improve, and just discovering new things that can help our clients and our patients and everything.
I love that. And what is your role? What do you do for All Things Neuro?
I am the business sales director, so I do all the marketing, the sales. I do the meetings with the attorneys and providers.
Yeah. So have you always wanted to be in that type role? Is that something you just woke up and were like, I want to do sales?
Yeah, so I started out case managing at an orthopedic office, and then the more I saw people doing marketing and going to the events, I was like, oh, I want to do that. But I never knew I could do it in like the medical background, so I just got more experience, and here I am now.
Awesome. So, what would you say makes you guys different from other, neuro places? What is something that you can say you guys do that someone else doesn't do?
So we definitely have a unique solution. It's built up into 3 different independent companies, which is super key. And that definitely is what separates us, because a lot of the times other competitors, they don't have that entire solution. They're having to look for other providers to refer to complete that.
Okay, awesome. Can you give me a few providers that you all have, and a little bit of background, not a whole lot, but just like your neurologists and, all that good stuff. Do you have anybody new that joined you at all?
We don't have anybody new recently that joined, but we do have board-certified neurologists, we have a board-certified neuropsychologist, we have psychologists, speech therapists. Let's see, we have licensed clinical social workers, we have...
Oh, you have a whole...
Yeah, we have
a whole team.
Yeah, we have the whole team.
Okay. What's the location? Where can they find you online, and what are the locations?
So you can find us at allthingsneuro.com. We have LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and we have 8 offices right now.
Ooh, 8. I wasn't expecting that. That's a lot.
It is. We're growing really quickly, and it's really exciting. But all of our locations are listed on our website, but I'll list them really quick. We're in Lawrenceville, Duluth, Decatur, Riverdale, East Point, Woodstock, Tucker, Suwanee. I want to say I'm forgetting one.
Are you forgetting one?
I might.
allthingsneuro.com, and you can see everything. And do you know your number by heart at all, or? It's a bunch of numbers.
Yeah.
And where can we find you?
So you can LinkedIn, Savannah Ambrose, and then we also have the All Things Neuro Instagram as well.
Okay. So that's just a little nutshell of All Things Neuro. 8 locations, more opening soon. Very exciting. Thank you so much, Savannah.
Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe, and go over to our YouTube to see more of the Care Girl podcast and experience. Stay well.
Call Starks Byron today for all your personal injury needs. We help professionals get back to living the life they love after a traumatic car wreck. 404-795-5115. They can find us online at Starks Byron Law. That's going to be our Instagram handle. Our Facebook is Starks Byron as well.
I am back with Rachel White. What is this? What are we looking at right here?
So this is the CTN E-Cabin full body cryotherapy.
Yes.
It's all electric, so there's no nitrogen, so that eliminates the risk of getting burnt. So it's like a big freezer.
Woo.
Right now we're at negative 249.7 degrees inside, and it's gonna get intense.
Ooh. 10 for a second.
The first 30 seconds is always the hardest.